So in the 4th century, this feast came about, and it has its roots in a celebration of the Romans at that time. They would, for 10 days, celebrate those who had gone before them, their deceased. And during that time, they would place a chair, an empty chair, to remember their deceased family member. And so, not knowing the day that St. Peter was, as we know, crucified upside down, not knowing the day of his death, the Christians, the followers of Jesus Christ, started celebrating on the 22nd of February the death, remembering this apostle who was chosen by Jesus to be the head of all apostles, to be the rock. They celebrated his death on that day. And so the chair is kind of a holdover from that. And chairs in the church are important. They actually give the name to the churches where we celebrate in dioceses. The place or the location of the diocese has a cathedral. And the word cathedral comes from cathedra, which means chair. But today isn't so much about a chair, but about the rock on which the church is built. As it were, the chair represents the authority of the Holy Father, of Peter, of the bishops in their dioceses. But today we celebrate Peter. Peter, as it were, the head of the church. And we are taken to a place called Caesarea Philippi, which is today known as Banias. It's a place where they used to have a shrine dedicated, obviously not Christians, a shrine dedicated to Pan, where the name Panias or Banias comes from. And there was a cave in this place called Banias. Banias is at the foot of Mount Hermon, where the water that flows from the Banias River into the Jordan River. It's the source of the water in Israel and in many parts of that area of the Middle East. And so there, they would celebrate nature. They would celebrate Pan. And inside a huge cave is a huge rock. And on the outside, in the rock, there are niches that were carved out where they would place statues of their gods. And inside this cave, on that rock, they would sacrifice animals and even humans. And as our guide reminded us, or told us, that the water would flow red because of all the blood that was sacrificed there. And so interestingly that Jesus brings the apostles to this place, Caesarea Philippi, obviously celebrating the Caesar, the emperor. And that cave was actually called the gate to the netherworld, which comes up in our gospel today, doesn't it? Jesus brings his disciples, his apostles there, to pose this very important question. Who do people say that I am? And they tell him, some say that you're John the Baptist, come back, Elijah, Jeremiah, or one of the other prophets. And after asking that question, he asks them the question that he poses to us also. Who do you say that I am? Who is Jesus for you? Is he just someone that we follow because our parents did, our grandparents did? Is it someone who has a special place in your life, in your heart? Peter was the first to reply. Peter didn't